Well, hello everyone. It's nice to see the chambers so full. And it's a pleasure to be sitting here with my colleagues again on the dais. So the first thing I am going to do is officially call this meeting to order. Business meeting of the Kalamazoo. Trying to give some time for people to finish their discussions there. Okay. All right. We've got a couple things to do here that are pretty important for everybody to join in, so I'll just ask for some quiet to get the meeting started. And I want to officially call this meeting to order of the Kalamazoo City Commission for Monday, April 15th, 2024. Once again, it's nice to see everybody here in the chambers. And our first order of business is roll call. Clerk Borling.
Commissioner Cooney.
Present.
Commissioner Decker.
Present.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Present.
Commissioner Pradel.
Present.
Commissioner Wilson.
Present.
Vice Mayor Hess.
Present.
Mayor Anderson.
Here. Thank you, Clerk Borling. For our opening ceremony this evening, I believe that we are going to be doing that invocation ourselves. So I've asked Commissioner Cooney. I want to ask the kind gentleman, if possible, if you could step out into the hallway if you want to have a conversation. Thank you so very much. We will be having our invocation delivered here from the dais. Commissioner Cooney has kindly volunteered to do that. So what I will ask is that Commissioner Cooney will just stay here on the dais when he provides his invocation. But for all of us to stand and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
O God of all that is good and just and beautiful, we thank you for bringing us together tonight for the good of our community, for the love of each other. We ask for wisdom that we who have these seats may do what is best for the community. We ask blessings on all the members of our community, especially those who are most vulnerable. We ask for peace and justice in the world, and we thank you for all the wonders that you bestow on us. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much again, Commissioner Cooney, for helping us get off on the right foot here this evening. We have several proclamations, and our first one is for Kalamazoo Valley Community College, for Community College Month. Is there somebody here from Kalamazoo Valley Community College? Yes, there you are, Mr. Alexander. Please come forward. Vice Mayor Hess is going to read it, and I will come down to you with the proclamation here. Here we go.
Thank you, Mayor. In this, our education city, it is my distinct pleasure and honor to read April as Kalamazoo Valley Community College Month, April 2024. Whereas the more than 1,000 community and technical colleges, public and private, in the United States have contributed enormously to the richness and accessibility of American higher education. Nearly half of all undergraduate college students in the nation today are enrolled in community colleges. And whereas, by providing educational opportunities at costs and locations accessible to all who are qualified, community and technical colleges have greatly enhanced the opportunity for every ambitious student to enter a post-secondary school program. As community-based institutions, our institutions provide varied programs and offer specialized training for thousands of occupations. And whereas this community has been served by the Kalamazoo Valley Community College since 1966, supporting the advancement of Southwest Michigan by developing strong industry partnerships and providing state-of-the-art training and educational experience. And whereas Kalamazoo Valley Community College is an accredited institution by the Higher Learning Commission and is accredited by several nationally recognized programmatic accreditors, including American Culinary Federation, Committee on Accreditation of Educational Programs for the Emergency Medical Services Professions, Medical Assisting Education Review Board, Commission on Accreditation for Respiratory Care, Commission on Dental Accreditation, Accreditation Commission for Education in Michigan, for Education in Nursing, American Alliance of Museums, Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards, Michigan Sheriff's Association, Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, Automotive Service Excellence Education Foundation, and Michigan Firefighters Training Council. And whereas approximately 9,000 students of all ages and backgrounds annually attend Kalamazoo Valley Community College to receive superb education and earn degrees, certificates, and training that help them become skilled members of the workforce that propels economic growth and encourages learning and culture. And whereas Kalamazoo Valley Community College has been instrumental in revitalizing the city of Kalamazoo with the Arcadia Commons Campus, Center for New Media, Kalamazoo Valley Museum, the Groves and Bronson Healthy Living Campus. And now, therefore, on behalf of the 55th City Commission and David F. Anderson, Mayor of the City of Kalamazoo, I, Jean Hess, do hereby recognize April 2024 as the Kalamazoo Valley Community College Month in the City of Kalamazoo. Congratulations. That's a whole lot of accreditations there. Whew.
Brief. Thank you, Mayor Anderson and Vice Mayor Hess and all the other members of the commission for recognizing Kalamazoo Valley during Community College Month. I do want to say that we would not be able to do the things that we are fortunate enough to be able to serve this community in doing without the support of this great community. So I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for, like I said, once again, for the recognition. And I won't hold up the agenda much longer. I just appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Good to see you. And all those who came from Kalamazoo Valley Community College. Our next proclamation is to recognize Arbor Day, and it is going to be read by Commissioner Decker. I don't have it in front of me here. Somebody here to accept this. All right, thank you.
Arbor Day, April 26, 2024. Whereas the City of Kalamazoo has a long history of joining cities across the nation to improve and expand local tree care, including itself as a Tree City USA. And whereas the trees we maintain and preserve can reduce erosion by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, provide habitat for wildlife, and produce life-giving oxygen. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas the trees we maintain and preserve provide an enjoyable atmosphere and beautify our community. Now, therefore, on behalf of the 55th City Commission and David Anderson, Mayor of the City of Kalamazoo, I, City Commissioner Kiana Decker, do hereby urge all citizens to plant trees and promote their well-being for the benefits they give today and for generations to come by proclaiming April 26, 2024, Arbor Day in the City of Kalamazoo.
First off, I'd like to thank all y'all for supporting trees, and I know a lot of my contracts have come your way, and some of my projects have come your way. There's a lot of money in trees right now, a lot of really cool things going on in the city. We have a lot of contracts, a lot of trees going in the ground, a lot of old trees that need to be removed, getting removed. We're updating our systems. We're updating our tree survey, everything. It's we're going in a really good right direction, and that's because of everyone, not only the city but the commission as well. So thank you. As well, join us on Arbor Day on Verberg Park. We just planted 80 trees in there, and so we're going to make sure they survive by adding mulch, watering them, kind of just like kind of showing a little bit there and there about pruning, and kind of just a good day to hang out in the sun.
We have one more proclamation. It's for Workers' Memorial Day. I don't think there's anyone here to accept it, but Commissioner Cooney will be reading it. Commissioner Cooney.
Whereas every year on April the 28th, communities and work sites around the world honor friends, family members, colleagues who have been killed or injured on the job. And whereas in 2022, the Federal Bureau of Labor Statistics estimated that 5,486 workers were killed by traumatic injuries on the job, a 5.7% increase from 2021. On average, a worker died nearly every 96 minutes from a work-related injury in 2022. And whereas in 2022, 139 workers' lives were lost through fatal workplace accidents in Michigan, and whereas it is appropriate to honor the memory of the courageous and dedicated members of Michigan's labor force who have been injured or disabled or have died as a result of workplace accidents, and whereas we remember those who have died in workplace catastrophes, suffered occupational-related diseases, or have been injured due to dangerous conditions, and whereas recognition of the integrity of Michigan's workforce and its achievements on behalf of the economic growth of our state is necessary, and whereas the City of Kalamazoo wishes to pay tribute to the workers who have died or been injured or disabled in workplace accidents, we honor the contributions of Michigan's workforce and call for increased workplace safety. And whereas the City of Kalamazoo renews our efforts to seek stronger workplace safety and health protections, better standards and enforcement, and fair and just compensation, and we rededicate ourselves to improving safety and health in every city workplace. Now, therefore, on behalf of the 54th City Commission, David Anderson, Mayor of the City of Kalamazoo, we hereby proclaim April the 28th, 2024 as Workers' Memorial Day in the City of Kalamazoo, and urge all citizens to recognize and honor the contributions of Michigan's workforce and call for increased workplace safety standards.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Cooney. Now we are at the point in our agenda to adopt the formal agenda. Commissioners, are there any items on G, the consent agenda, that you would like to have moved to H, the regular agenda? Seeing none, is there anyone in the audience that wants to move an item from the consent agenda to the regular agenda? See no one, the agenda stands. Next is communication. I'm sorry? G4? Okay. G4 will be moved to the regular agenda. Next is communications. Manager Ritzma.
Well, this evening I am wearing an orange T-shirt, which is not usually what I wear for City Commission. But I want to support our Public Services Department. This week, we're going orange for construction worker safety in work zones, and we have plenty of them throughout the city. So I want to support Public Services Director James Baker, Deputy Director Teresa Johnson, and the rest of Public Services in keeping our workers safe in the construction zones. And this week you'll see a lot of orange around in support of our workers. So thank you, Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Manager Ritzma. Next is the opportunity for public comments. So this is your opportunity to make a comment here during our business meeting. If you're interested in making a comment, you can come forward, state your name and whether you live in the city. There's a place over here on the side where you can write down your name and contact information if you'd like to do that. Thank you.
Hi, Mayor Anderson and Vice Mayor Hess and the rest of the City Commission. My name is David Elias. I live over here on Ransom Street, and I'm within a stone's throw of where they're building the new arena, which is great progress. In the past, Mayor, one of the things I had addressed is, having lived in Grand Rapids for the last, prior to the last 5 years here, I lived in GR for about 27, 28 years. And the last time I was there, I see these scooters called Lime, where people can use their cards and go all around town, bicycles. And with the gorgeous weather right now, I think that's an excellent idea. They might want to look into that, which would definitely give you a lot more, visibility. I saw them when I visited my folks in Miami. They're everywhere. So the city of Kalamazoo might want to look into that. And the other thing that I know, you have a new superintendent with the school district, and you're not the school district itself, but in fact, I want to applaud the new superintendent. He seems like a no-nonsense person, and he wants to hold parents accountable for kids that aren't showing up, and I think that's phenomenal. I hope that, again, the one thing that I've always pointed at, and I wore it as a badge of honor, having been terminated in the Grand Rapids Public Schools as a substitute teacher, because I actually had the audacity to enforce rules, pulling up their pants, not cursing, disrespectful behavior, and it's sad. I think, though, as Commissioner Cooney knows, teaching that education is the best way to get people out of poverty. And school choice, vouchers, it works in a lot of major cities. They already pay into the school system, the taxes, and they shouldn't have to pay in addition to that. And the other thing I want to say, I see a lot of homeless people. I won't give them money. I work part-time for the post office. I will offer them water or snacks in my car. And one of the things they could do, especially for veterans, is to look into Warrior Tunnel to Towers project. They might be able to give a place for a lot of these veterans, homeless veterans. Tunnel to Towers and Wounded Warrior Project, they might be able to build some accommodations, especially for our veterans. And it breaks my heart to see them out there struggling, but I know a lot of them are abusing the system. They'll say they're a veteran, and all it takes is a question or two to find out whether they're trying to pull the wool over somebody's eyes. I have no problem helping somebody out, but I'm not going to contribute to what help brought them to that point. And so I just wanted to pass that along, and I hope the city will adopt those measures. And I'd love to see people out and about checking out the area on those scooters and bikes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello again. My name is Rachel Bennett, and I live in the Hillcrest neighborhood of Kalamazoo. No babysitting tonight, so I have this little one with me. I come once again to implore you all to vote in favor of accepting funding for traffic calming measures in Kalamazoo. Traffic calming, city redesign, safe routes to school, safe streets for all are all matters of improving the quality of life for residents. Our family with 3 small children live on one of the streets set to get traffic calming interventions implemented, and we, along with our neighbors, herald these forthcoming changes. The changes have been necessary for decades. Residents on our street have had speeding cars come crashing through their front lawns. Many of us are afraid to let our children play in the front yard due to traffic volume and speeds. When I reached out to many of our neighbors who are supporters of these changes, one wrote, "I am terrified every day that someone is going to get badly injured." Beyond the obvious arguments for safety, the changes to the city's design in the last few years is a matter of economic and movement equity. Owning a car is expensive. Recent studies show that car ownership is roughly $12,000 a year. When we change the design of cities so that people can get to work, grocery stores, schools, and medical appointments by walking or biking, we are giving them an opportunity to live more fully without the thousands of dollars going into vehicle keeping. Please consider this when these proposals come before you. It isn't just about a pretty city center or new urbanism. It is about people having access to opportunities without the uniquely American burdensome requirement of car ownership. Please vote yes for these initiatives.
Thank you.
Hold on.
Next, please.
Sorry.
Hi everyone, my name is Tina and I live on Lake Street on the south side of town, the real active floodplain area. I live next to our last natural green space, Lake to Stockbridge. This is the same area that I've asked you to do something about the flooding for 7 years now. But we have been told that the city does not have the money to fix the flooding. James Baker said it would cost too much money to fix the infrastructure issues in our neighborhood. But yet you get $38 million to fix the so-called flooding issues in Arcadia Creek Festival site, which has not flooded for years, ever since you dammed the creek and Western's football field. Come on, what about the homeowners and the homes that flood? I guess we see that if you are not a rich developer from out of town or Western, you all of a sudden get the money. But over here, from Westnich to Crosstown, way down Crosstown, all the way to Portage Road, you flood. Burdick, Crosstown, Stockbridge, Burdick to Lake, Lake to John, from the city yards all the way down Water Street to Vine Street floods. Your police station floods, your hospital floods, and so does your longtime homeowners. See, our issue is your infrastructure is failing underground. But we are a poor neighborhood, so you don't care about us. We are always ignored by all of you. For you only give us 3 minutes to talk, but you don't give us feedback, and you took phone calls away for those who can't get in or talk online. So here we go again. Your storm drains flood out the streets, floods out the whole neighborhood, and then backs up the city storm drains. Leaves us with standing water, flooding streets. See, if you would have did the right thing years ago for once and fixed the failing infrastructures in our issue, the wrong piping under the streets, factory piping, not residential piping, factory piping. And it also is failing and not doing its job. So a rich developer wants condos at Arcadia Creek Festival site. So wow, now you have the money to fix the so-called flooding issues. This is not a floodplain area. This is where you should put affordable housing, right across the street from the Mission, not condos. You have people who need homes, apartments, who can't afford any of these 5 new apartment buildings you have put downtown. Arcadia Creek, put affordable apartments there, right across from the Mission. So if people need help with food, they can go right across the street to the Mission and get help and get food. But oh no, I said a bad word. I said put affordable apartments in downtown. Oh no, that's terrible.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Good evening. My name is Yvonne Jackson, and I am the president of the Kalamazoo Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And as you can see, some of my sisters are here with me. And we just want to come to give you just some information. Delta Sigma Theta was founded in 1913 on the University of Howard University. And our first act was social action, which we attended the women's suffrage march in March 1913. Since then, Delta Sigma Theta annually celebrates or honors Delta Days in a nation's capital. We just participated in our 35th year. We were also 20 years in the Delta Days in the United Nations, which Delta Sigma Theta was the first Greek letter organization to get non-governmental status. Since then, we do Delta Days at the state capitol. So more recently, they've asked us to do Delta Days at our local government. And here we are with you. Our first visit is you tonight. And we're not here to make demands on you. We're just here to give you some things that we're focused on this year. Illiteracy is always at the top of our list. Health inequities, which Kalamazoo kind of ranks high with fetal infant mortality rate. I think we're 4th in the state for that. Environmental injustice, we have some issues here. We want to make sure that that's at the top of your list. And also voter registration and awareness is always at the top of our list. With that, we just want to let you know that we are here to support you and to partner and to collaborate with you, not just make demands on you. If you not know, we have educators, we have doctors, professors, executive directors of foundations. We have a lot of skill sets that we could put and help you with. And we want to collaborate with you and partner with you, and just let you know that we are here for you as well. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Watkins. I'm a resident of the Winchell neighborhood, and I would like to encourage the commission to approve the projects that are on tonight's agenda to be funded by the Safe Streets for All grant. Our city staff, including experts in the engineering, planning and development, and public services departments, have all used their time, education, and knowledge of best practices to create a thorough plan that makes our streets safer for all modes of transit, not just cars. And these projects are exciting for those of us who walk and bike in Kalamazoo, but they're also necessary steps in creating a safe and vibrant city. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, next, please.
Probably remember 5 o'clock, but I say, and I brought a couple employees with me also. I'm Doug from the owner of CJ's Pub. I just can't relate it enough. There are no requirements for people in the pods for drug, alcohol, or mental health issues. They tell you it's available, but it's not required. Someone brought up they were gated, there's no curfew, there's no checking in, they can come and go as they please. And it's a major safety issue for us, employees and customers. And that sort of treatment, the way I grew up, that's called enabling people. I've had family with substance abuse issues, and I don't know, it doesn't work, so. Kaylee?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our customers are not happy with it and are talking about not coming here, like to our jobs, you know what I mean? If we do this, it's kind of crazy, you know? And I understand people need homes and everybody is entitled to have that, but at the same time, you're putting us in risk of going out of business and losing our jobs. So I just feel that's unfair.
I agree. I fear for my safety when I leave there at 1 a.m. in the morning and they say they have security, but I don't believe it's going to protect me.
Security is for inside the gate, not outside.
Yeah.
So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Doug Levisto, resident of Westwood. I've had the great privilege to work this semester with a group of fantastic students at Western Michigan University and Kalamazoo College. And we have partnered with the Monroe Brown Foundation to address an issue that we all are very interested in, which is retaining our top, best and brightest from our universities here into our city. And as we went through that work and that research, talking to young professionals, college students, young professionals who have left the community, a key theme that came through that you're going to be hearing from some students about this evening is the connection between the universities and downtown. And I know as an educator who is training students both from Western and Kalamazoo College in the building across the street over there at Sleeping Giant, and also as a business owner at Sleeping Giant, we want to see a more vibrant downtown, and that means being able to lower barriers for people to be able to access our great city. That means going beyond cars, and that means going beyond buses and looking at other innovative solutions around micromobility, one of which you're going to hear is around scooters. So you're going to hear firsthand from the students who were able to collect this research. What I'm asking of the City Commission is to do as much as you can, as quickly as you can, to lower the barriers and make sure that we have great scooters on our streets. It's going to provide a really fun atmosphere for everyone to be able to access downtown, no matter if you have a car, if you have the means. It's going to facilitate a more vibrant nightlife for our students and a safer way for them to get home after they've been able to frequent one of our bars and restaurants. So I just encourage you with all your great power and might to be able to get those scooters on the street as quickly as we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, my name's Emily Kramer, and I'm a senior at WMU. As Doug mentioned, I'm part of the Leadership and Business Strategy program that's been working with the Monroe Brown Foundation on retention of our local talent. Alongside my team, I want to recommend that the city bring 200 electric scooters to Western Michigan University, Kalamazoo College, the Vine neighborhood, and downtown Kalamazoo as a means of connection. Kalamazoo lacks on-demand micromobile transportation options, which puts us behind other cities like Grand Rapids, Chicago, and even Battle Creek. This hurts our local employers, business owners, and city as a whole. We've gotten feedback from hundreds of college students through focus groups and surveys. They confirmed our hypothesis. College students are not coming downtown. And it makes sense. Students have a negative perception of the current public transit, and they aren't willing to make the long walk. However, driving means finding and paying for parking, not to mention not all students have a car. Additionally, Uber is unreliable where students don't know if they'll be able to find one home after a night enjoying downtown. So why come at all? Over 89% of the students we surveyed said they could see themselves riding e-scooters if they were implemented. The top ranked places they'd want to go all reside in downtown Kalamazoo. We also talked to local employers, 94% of which agreed that implementing electric scooters could benefit downtown businesses. We've also talked to current young professional talent in Kalamazoo who rated this idea a 7 out of 10. From talking with contacts who run the San Antonio Dockless Vehicle Program and doing outside research, we've learned the many benefits of implementing electric scooters that other cities have seen and that we hope to see in Kalamazoo.
Thank you. Yes, next, please.
Hello, Council. My name is Jake Anglum, and I'm a senior at Western Michigan University. As Emily said, key stakeholders agree that Kalamazoo needs to bring micromobility options to its transportation system. So please let me introduce some of the benefits that come along with electric scooters that other cities have seen. First, from our research, we have found that scooters have helped increase economic activity by 6% in cities that utilize them. This increase is a result of improved transportation accessibilities that scooters allow. Instead of waiting an extra 15 minutes for an Uber, with just a few clicks of the button on your phone, you can access and unlock a scooter in seconds. This allows students and young professionals to get where they want, when they want. Secondly, electric scooters will improve the sense of community within Kalamazoo. Students will have a fun and quick way to get downtown, creating a vibrant downtown scene with thriving businesses. Students and young professionals would be able to ride the scooters between the college campuses and local businesses at ease. For our young professionals, this looks like a 9 to 11% decrease in daily commute times, and for our students, this looks like a 37% reduction in commute times for large events. So think about when Western Michigan hockey and basketball come downtown, or think about Oberon Day or the Chili festivals. The opportunities are endless, and reduction times decrease. This time conservation means more productivity and less congestion on our roads, and not to mention, it's fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello all, my name is McKenna Bojanowski and I am born and raised resident of Kalamazoo. I'm also a student at Western Michigan University working on this electric scooter project. I'd like to build off of Jake's points regarding the numerous benefits of implementing electric scooters that we would bring to our community. From a sustainability standpoint, embracing electric scooters could be a game changer. Research in other cities show that 45% of electric scooter trips would replace automobile trips. This shift would significantly contribute to Kalamazoo's sustainability goals, as e-scooters are 10 times more energy efficient than automobiles and produce zero greenhouse gas emissions. Moreover, promoting public transit options and utilizing new bike lanes would further alleviate traffic congestion and reduce our carbon footprint. At the recent Sustainability Summit on March 29, 2024, which brought together sustainability-minded individuals from both Western Michigan University's campus and downtown Kalamazoo, we conducted a survey. Nearly 2/3 of the attendees expressed their willingness to use electric scooters downtown. This clear indication of interest among our Sustainability Committee highlights the potential success of such an initiative. Given the growing infrastructure of bike lanes downtown and the potential for more, it makes sense to integrate electric scooters into our transportation system. It's a step towards a more efficient, sustainable, and accessible urban environment for all. In conclusion, with all the data we've expressed, it is evident that implementing electric scooters will bridge the gap between students and downtown, improve the community vibrancy, reshape the perception of downtown Kalamazoo, and foster a healthier and more ecological Kalamazoo. Approving the new bike lanes tonight is the first step in making this a reality. It's a no-brainer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Millie Boutwell. I moved here in 2022 to help support the initiative that is being voted on tonight to support safer streets. I moved here because I believe that the city of Kalamazoo is the most forward-looking, forward-thinking city in the entire state. I know Michigan is ground zero for car-based infrastructure, and the mindset that is going to be needed will take decades. Car-based infrastructure has racism systemically built into it, and projects like these will help undo that to make the cities like us more equitable for everyone. Like people before me said, you know, it costs a lot of money just to own a car, not to mention run and upkeep it. If we look to our neighboring cities, such as Hoboken, they've gone years without a traffic-related death inside a car, pedestrian, or bike. It is doable. It is not, a grandiose idea. Even Indiana and Ohio are steps ahead of us, and we can look to them. I'm not originally from Michigan, but I do know one thing I've learned since moving to Michigan is that we hate losing to Ohio. So I encourage you, let's not do that, you know? We can be better. We can be the example. Something I think that is drastically needed is daylighting of intersections to make pedestrians and anyone outside of a vehicle more easily visible, and for people who are driving to see those people as well. Let's see. There's an ongoing loneliness epidemic in our country. It's killing people. And community during these challenging times is something we cannot afford to miss out on and lose. With over 20 diverse and wonderful neighborhoods in our city, connecting them is very, very important. All of this said, the Safer Streets Initiative will not work if it is not backed up or enforced by our well-funded public safety department. That part is key. If it is not backed up by each of you, by each of us here in this body. These programs will help the city flourish and be able to tackle anything that comes our way in the coming decades, outliving each of us. 2-3 years is nothing in the timeline of a city. Just a raise of hands, if you went to any of the schools here, like Western Michigan University, raise your hand. And if you want to come take a bike ride with me or walk with me, please let me know. Vice Mayor Hess, I saw you at...
Thank you.
Hello, John Jamros. I live in the Hillcrest neighborhood. I'm back again just to voice my support for the Safe Streets for All. I hear that my street is coming up, but it can't be soon enough. There is it's not safe for my kids to play in the front yard of my residential neighborhood. There is a telephone pole that's starting to look like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, not because it was sunk wrong, but because cars keep hitting it. And every winter they drive too fast for the road that they're on and they lose control and they hit it and it slides down. And I'm actually thankful that it's there ruining their cars because hopefully they won't do it again, and it's protecting my children. So I know you guys are pushing forward with the Safe Streets for All stuff, and I really appreciate that, and I want to thank you for that. And also, I wasn't going to talk about this because I knew nothing about it, but I will very briefly say for the scooter folks, I was in Chicago and they piloted the scooter program, and it was amazing, and it was a lot of fun, and a lot of people did use them. They're just laying around. You just pick it up, tap your phone to it, and off you go, and it really helps people without cars or people without bikes or anything like that. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Wilson. I live in the West Niche Hill neighborhood. Today I would like to encourage you to approve the contract for pilot cycle track installation on Laval Street and Stadium Drive and development of Safe Street for All intersection upgrade and pedestrian safety plan. Promoting urban planning projects often relies on an inspiring narrative. What are we as a community trying to accomplish? And how do we want our neighborhood to evolve? Few stories are as universal as building a better future for our children, but in urban design, it is too often a tale untold. Urban environmental and health issues are increasingly on the rise, a crisis when experts believe that by 2030, 60% of all city dwellers will be under the age of 18. The World Health Organization estimates the number of overweight children globally will skyrocket to 70 million by 2025 from 41 million in 2016. The rate of childhood mental health problems triggered by the stress of urban life is also on the rise. Cars, especially the amount of real estate given over to road and vehicle, present a big problem. This infrastructure often forms borders between children and freer access to play space and limit other mobility options. With less independent mobility, children have to reduce ability to navigate and experience the city. This means fewer opportunities for social interaction, chance encounters, playful journeys, and discovery. If children are not designed into our city, they are designed out. This means that they are deprived of contact with the material world, with nature, with civic life, and with their own capacities. In today's social media landscape, cynicism has reached new peaks. One way to combat this is to get our young people outside, to interact with the world face to face, learn that there are much more kind and generous interactions in life than the malevolent interactions online. You cannot have those interactions while be moving inside a private car. You have to move around foot or bicycle and look at people in their eyes. Be able to open your mouth and be heard, and be open to hear others. I would just like you to remember, children are an indicator. If we can build a successful city for children, we will have a successful city for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, next please.
Good evening. My name is Fritz Brown. I'm a business owner with TraceStar, also with the Monroe Brown Foundation. And I just want to voice my support for the Western Michigan, scooter proposal, for lack of a better word. I think we have a real opportunity moving forward with the city of Kalamazoo, with everything we're doing with the arena to the residential opportunities that we're doing in the city. And I represent many businesses that would love to see more students in their downtown, and having this connectivity with campus, along with all the other benefits that you've heard, I think it would really help my restaurant customers, as well as other retailers in the city. And I think it's important for a vibrant downtown. So I'm here to voice that support, and I hope the commission takes it seriously. And these kids have been working hard, and I think they're really bright, and I thank them for all their work. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Hello? All right. Good evening, commissioners. I do want to say one thing. As a former Ohioan, Michigan does beat Ohio, so you guys do have that for sure. I can confirm that. I was in Columbus, and we are actually beating Columbus, in my opinion, in things like the protected bike lanes and everything, even though they have much bigger population than us. But I am here tonight to voice my support for the line items G3 and G4 respectively. As has already been said, it is vital that we start building for all road users, whether they drive flashy BMWs or get around on foot. Making it safer to do so is a requirement for people to feel like they have multiple options of getting around Kalamazoo, rather than just being stuck behind the wheel. These proposals align with the city's Safe Streets for All initiative. As stated in the agenda reports, Kalamazoo has nearly 3,350 crashes per year. That's 9 per day. It is proven that street calming measures like narrowing the road so people don't feel like they're driving on the highway works. It gets drivers to slow down and respect the speed limit. Level Street looks to be a good spot to do these traffic calming measures. It is a low-speed road as is, and making it safer helps everybody. According to the city, citizens have supported these measures to make Kalamazoo safer at a 2-to-1 ratio. I strongly urge the commission tonight to vote yes on both G3 and G4. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, next, please.
Hello, my name is Theo Neiman. I'm a student at Kalamazoo College. I'm here with my peers in the back in support of the two-way cycle track on Lovell. I'm known to my peers in the Kalamazoo College community and staff as the bike person. A lot of people come up to me to talk about bike-related issues and thoughts. And the thing that I hear most often is, what happened to the wave? It was a visible reminder, whether you're on the road walking, biking, or driving by, that bikers belong. One thing that I imagine we talk a lot about at Kalamazoo, I don't know how much you hear about it, is the idea of the Kalamazoo College bubble, where in Kalamazoo College we don't really need to go out into the community very much. But the Kalamazoo College community does need the Kalamazoo community. I run a lot of events where we go downtown, where we enjoy the city, and universally, every time we're in the community, I hear people say, wow, this is so fun, this is great. And that's because Kalamazoo College, my peers, don't go out enough into the community, and the wave is one way to do that. Because whether you are wealthy enough to own a car, you're a pedestrian, or you're a biker, we're all united in our use of these streets, and the wave is a physical reminder that bikers belong, and people, you know, who can't afford a car do as well. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name is Ray Sweeney. I'm a resident of the city, and I'm here to urge this commission to support affordable housing and applaud you. The governor here was here just a little while ago, and her mantra was build, baby, build, and you guys have been participants in that effort. In the Isaac Affordable Housing Task Force, Toby Hannah Davies had urged you to try to get more affordable housing for people in the 50th percentile or even lower. People who are homeless need to be housed. My experience with First United Methodist Church Sunday evening supper, I got to know a lot of people that are off the streets, and I have been especially friends with several of them, and one of them, who had been carrying all his stuff around, was constantly tired because he was afraid of being either assaulted or his stuff being stolen. And so he's now in the lodge house. And it has made an incredible change in his life. He's now employed, contributing to the budget of lodge house. And I would wish that on every single person who is now on the streets, trying to get rest and trying to just survive. That person I was referring to earlier said homelessness is a full-time job. And Up until then, there was no way he could do any of those necessary things to get his life back on track. And so I look forward to there being some place for the pods to be in place. There will never be an ideal site, but I think you should consult with the people who are homeless. What are their priorities? And I bet you will find that they will want to be in a secure place where they can sleep and have their stuff and have the services. Listen to the neighborhood and try to address their concerns. But in the end, set as a high priority, housing first. After that, a lot of problems can be sorted out. After that, a new life will be born, or reborn, I guess should. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ann Sweeney, also from Kalamazoo. I'm reading a message from Charlotte Davis. Good evening to our mayor, vice mayor, city commissioners, and staff. My name is Charlotte Davis with Isaac, and I apologize for not being able to join you this evening. For the past few years, Isaac has been at the table around housing equity work, along with valued partners, including the city of Kalamazoo. We continue to be grateful to then Vice Mayor Patrice Griffin for sharing her housing brief some years back, as that was the needed catalyst for this work and ordinance. That commission passed the housing equity ordinance unanimously. Some of you were there. Thank you. I want to thank all who are speaking, sharing, and lifting questions, support, and concerns tonight. I was grateful to see a myth and fact sheet about the place of dignity, Kalamazoo Pod, on HRI's website. I encourage all of you to view this good document if you have not already. Dr. King said the beloved community was not devoid of conflict, but free of violence, and that practices and policies were infused with love, abundance, hope, and equity, so that all are held as beloved. Dr. King spoke with a people-centered lens and with the understanding that some are not always valued in our society. This, unfortunately, is still true in Kalamazoo. In 2018, we facilitated and listened to those impacted by housing inequities. Those who sat, ate, and talked with us were mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, family members, grandmothers, and grandfathers, including those who had different abilities that impacted housing accessibility, who had past convictions years ago that still impacted housing, who worked hard, even 2 jobs, but couldn't find housing or couldn't afford the multiple fees and costs, who had left unhealthy relationships and or had evictions, thus having a hard time finding housing, whose health concerns impacted their housing. It's 2024. May those valuable voices not be in vain. This is an opportunity for us to have, as a community, to have real conversations and listen deeply around this project. Those working on this project want to listen and share answers to your questions. A key lesson from my parents and my faith is that if one of us is struggling, then we all are struggling. That village mindset, putting yourself in others' shoes, can help us move in an impactful manner. While money has been invested in housing, which we appreciate, we are still seeing disparities. So now is the time to collaborate and to lean into equitable, creative, and new ideas. I believe that the place of dignity, PODS, is just that. Thank you. With my apologies to Charlotte.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lisa Garcia, the AVP for Community Partnerships at Western Michigan University. WMU enthusiastically backs the allocation of funds from the Safe Streets for All traffic calming grant towards enhancing our community's connectivity. We firmly believe that investing in the city's infrastructure and bridging gaps in our cycling network will facilitate more meaningful interactions between our nearly 16,000 students and the diverse businesses and communities in downtown Kalamazoo. Currently, many of our students primarily rely on public transportation or personal vehicles to reach downtown Kalamazoo, both of which pose accessibility challenges. By prioritizing street improvements, including enhanced lighting, sidewalks, and the addition of bike lanes, we not only enhance community cohesion, but also ensure our students feel safer navigating the streets and neighborhoods between WMU and the heart of Kalamazoo. Ultimately, Broncos don't merely enroll at WMU, they embrace Kalamazoo, invest their resources here, and often choose to remain post-graduation, contributing to the city's future. It's imperative that we foster a sense of belonging and connectivity for our students, and this crucial investment in infrastructure will instill a deeper sense of pride in the city they proudly call home. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sophie Decker. I've been a resident of Kalamazoo in the Arcadia neighborhood for all 20 years of my life, and I'm also a Kalamazoo College student. As a Kalamazoo College student, I'm very happy to see the expansion of connecting the Kalamazoo College area and the Vine neighborhood with downtown. But as an Arcadia neighborhood resident, I'd like to see more attention being paid to the eastern side of Western's campus in the Arcadia, Drake, and West Main area. I'd like to see more accessible modes of pedestrian travel in that area after the work at downtown is complete. As the main places that my household goes to shop is the West Main retail area, and with the pre-existing paths that run along Arboretum Parkway up to Drake and down to Howard, it makes an extension to that path leading up to Drake and the West Main area seems like a natural next step for that. Especially since it's a neighborhood that houses an elementary and middle school, providing more ways for our kids to get out safely and comfortably to those areas and get them out of the neighborhood would be an important way to make sure that they feel connected to the city that they live in and make sure that they feel thought about as part of the community rather than just being stuck in their neighborhoods.
Thank you. Hello.
Good evening. My name is Maddie Jordan Woods. I live at 902 West Patterson. I am here tonight taking off my hat for the North Side as the chairperson of the North Side I'm sorry, I'm so used to saying it, I just retired, for the North Side Cultural Business District. At our last meeting, James Baker and his team came and did a presentation on how the project was going. And when there was a snag in the project that it looked like they were not listening to the residents, James Baker, he took the time to go back to where the starting was and everything. I'm here tonight to thank James for treating us as being important and making sure that the communication between the city and those who have chosen to volunteer to make the Northside Cultural Business District a success. So that's what I'm hearing, and James didn't know I was coming. I just want to say that. My second thing is that I've been listening tonight and hearing all the comments on the safe streets, and I think it's great. But some of the comments that I heard about a successful city for children, I heard about some not being valued. I want to bring back to that the Powell Library closed. It closed during Black History Month. A library is a place where our children, your children, and anyone else's children, they get their first introduction to workforce development, to being part of a community, and having the audacity to dream. I hope that we do not let this important part of some children who needed access to information just keep slipping away. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mary Gilbert, and I'm here for the issue of the pods and homelessness in general. And I've heard a lot of sweeping generalities about homeless people. I'd like to point out, first of all, that not all homeless people don't have a job. Not all homeless people are drug addicts or alcoholics, and they don't want to be homeless. There's many reasons people end up being homeless. I ended up homeless myself. I got a divorce, lost everything, ended up living in my car. Things like that happen. A lot of bad things happen to some very good people that's beyond their control. People get sick, people lose their jobs. There's domestic violence issues. Not every homeless person is going to be a problem. And not every homeless person wants to live in a tent in the woods. And I think that the pods are an important project, and I think they have to go somewhere. And like the gentleman said earlier, no place is going to be ideal. And all I hear is, well, the pods are a great idea, but I don't want it in my backyard. You know, they've got to go somewhere, and we have to find a solution that's going to make, it's not going to make everybody happy, but we got to, you know, do something about the epidemic that is homelessness just in this city, but in this country, and it's not getting better. And nobody wants to do anything about it. I do something about it 365 days a year. I've given away every pair of socks I've owned this winter. Because this winter we had below zero temperatures, and the difference between a dry pair of socks meant someone kept their toes. I mean, these are issues that nobody wants to talk about and nobody wants to think about, but they're here and they're not going to go away. And nobody wants them where they're currently planned to go, but I hate to tell you people this, the homeless are already there. They're in that neighborhood and their presence is there. So not putting the pods there isn't going to make them go away. And pretending like this doesn't exist is not going to make the problem go away. Thank you.
Thank you.
Not my neighborhood.
Hello, I'm Carolyn Peshek, and a few years ago my sister and I spent 3 years traveling to all 50 states studying hunger. And in the process, we talked to many homeless people. One of them was, at that point, the head of food services at Glide, which is a huge social services organization in San Francisco. He had been homeless, and he, as Ray said, told us that homelessness is a full-time job. You have to queue for food, you have to queue for meals, you have to apply for benefits, you have to walk places. Most of them didn't have cars. You have to find a warm place in the winter, a cool place in the summer to be, and you have to keep your belongings safe, and you have to find a way to keep yourself clean and your clothes clean. That leaves very little energy to do anything else. The pods take care of many of those problems. Not all of them, but it's a safe environment. In the pods, they're lockable, so you can keep your belongings safe. There will be a supportive staff. There's going to be 24-hour security staff and other staff. You'll have privacy. You can close the door of your pod and be in there by yourself. But there will also be a community area, so there will be a sense of community as much as you want or not want. And it will be relatively secure, and it will allow people to work, once they don't have this burden of homelessness, then they can work on the problems that created the homelessness. And that allows them to get more on the right track and hopefully would move out of homelessness. So please, get the pods up and running. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Since we are recognizing trees, there are mature trees at the natural watershed at 209 East Stockbridge, or what the Live Foundation is calling a Hawthorne Park. Currently, funding has not been awarded for that project, and I think it would be a good time to take a step back and consider the bigger implications of global warming and climate change. Many cities are now considered urban heat zones because they have slowly but surely completely developed their green spaces. This is very tied to gentrification. Kalamazoo, especially the city, should take note and require MDEQ reports, and I assure you, with the ever-increasing flooding, especially for the working communities, this is not a good idea, and developing would push out residents from this area, and that by definition is gentrification. According to the Consolidated Plan of 2019 to 2023, prepared by the Community Planning and Economic Development Community Investment Division, it says that Midwestern populations are already experiencing adverse health impacts from climate change, and these impacts are expected to worsen in the future. This risk is especially high for people who are less able to cope because of age, income, and social connectivity. Climate change is expected to worsen health conditions by increasing the frequency and intensity of poor air quality days, extremely high temperatures. So I assure you that we desperately need those mature trees in 209 East Stockbridge, especially because the report continues. One of the greatest threats of climate change for low and moderate income households in Kalamazoo will be increased flooding. Keep in mind that Kalamazoo currently has one of the worst environmental crises in terms of air quality in the nation with graphic packaging, and it's close to 8 schools. We really need to consider prioritizing our dwindling green spaces, especially those with mature trees. Thank you, Commissioner Cooney, for meeting with us about passing a resolution supporting rent stabilization. It was not easy for my friends to be vulnerable while telling you about their struggles with renting in Kalamazoo and how rent has increased $400 to $600 from one month to the next. I encourage all of you to meet with us. In the same community planning says that there is not sufficient housing for extremely low and low-income households in the city. This is for households earning between 0 to 50% of the median family income, and not what is considered affordable housing in Kalamazoo, which is 80 and 60% AMI. Over 50% of Kalamazoo's population is paying 30 to 50% of their income towards housing. This means that they aren't able to afford basic needs, such as medical care, utility, foods. And those pods are a very clear example. Those voicing negative stereotypes of the houseless people are wrong. The houseless community is not everyone has substance abuse problems, and actually there's a lot of working community that is houseless because of the rent crisis. People are one crisis away from losing their housing, and many people have frozen during the winter. Juliana's is run by Trump supporters. I want to make that clear, and every other establishment that is Trump supporting, we should not be going there, okay? Because they have racist and outdated views of houseless people, and it's not okay because the working community needs.
Thank you. Next, please.
My name is Emily Hooker. I am an advocacy chair for the Kalamazoo Coalition for the Unhoused and someone who has been passionately working with the unhoused for over a decade. I'm here to address the outrageous opposition to the Housing Resource Initiative's POD project. There is no denying that we are in a crisis. 1 in 4 Americans are without any kind of savings, and more of us live paycheck to paycheck. Housing and rent are higher than ever, and the cost of living is soaring. Tensions are clearly high, as are misgivings surrounding our unhoused neighbors. This project is not an encampment. It is not a transient space for a night or two. This is a place for people, for other human beings to live, to receive shelter, which is one of the basic tenets of human necessity. Housing First Action works, and we have proof. I have personally seen it work here in Jackson, Michigan, where a dedicated group of business owners and professionals work together to create a modular housing system for their unhoused neighbors, right alongside them in their community, not shuffled off to some more out-of-the-way place to be forgotten, far from resources and outside of society like lepers. I hear your fears as citizens and as business owners, but fear cannot divide us. We cannot allow it to take or keep from our neighbors what little help they get. We cannot avoid this problem or shuffle it off from backyard to backyard, and we cannot hide from reality. Our community and our country is suffering, and it's not a time to give in to fear and shut each other out. We cannot isolate each other. I know we can find understanding together and provide for each other if we prioritize our humanity. This may not be the final site for this project, it's definitely not the first, but I hope that when the city is finally able to help lift up our friends and fellow humans, the progress is not stopped by ignorance and suspicion. and instead flourishes in a community of compassion. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi there. Bob Brownell, a resident of Kalamazoo on Level Street. I moved the item 4 to the regular agenda. I don't think I actually needed to do that. I think that was unnecessary. But anyway, I support the city moving forward with the proposed Safe Streets for All projects, including the Level Street pilot cycle track. The funding for this item comes from a portion of the federal Safe Streets for All grant awarded to Kalamazoo to aid in preventing roadway deaths and serious injuries. Although the marked speed limit on Level is 25 miles per hour, even well-meaning folks will be traveling upwards of 30, even upwards of 35 miles per hour without realizing it. The Level Street cycle track and other projects like it will be calming traffic in part by narrowing streets, which is the most effective method of increasing adherence to speed limits. With calmer traffic and dedicated bike lanes where our residential neighborhoods meet with our campuses and business districts, our city will become more connected, less car dependent, and safer for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello, sorry for adding on to the end of the line. I saw everybody groan a little bit when I stepped up a little late. I just wanted to say thank you all for all of your work. I recently moved here from a really miserable city in Florida, and in part I picked this city in Michigan because of all the phenomenal work that you guys are doing. So thank you very much. You made it a very easy decision for me. I guess there was a lot to talk about tonight, but I heard a lot about the e-scooter program, and I'm not sure what the city's stake in this is. I was under the impression it was for the university. But being from a miserable town in Florida, I have kind of like a cautionary tale. Anecdotally, my alma mater is a place called Florida Gulf Coast University, and we have those scooters. It's not necessarily comparable to what the system would be here. This sounds much more comprehensive, and I have no doubt the integrity of the research that the students here have done. But pursuing my economics degree, my research showed that most of these scooter trips in the cities that I looked at, which are more southern cities, they replaced mostly bus trips and walking trips. And if we're trying to activate downtown people on scooters, they're also a lot less safe. Most people who are injured on scooters, again, research that I've seen that's mostly towards the West Coast, it's injuries caused by poor road conditions that were encountered because the wheels are incredibly small and the base is very narrow, and they're mostly concussive, so head injuries. Whereas we think that cyclists and other automobiles and pedestrians, it's typically a concern about a stray automobile or something like that. Scooters, anecdotally for me and through some of my research, are not the best way to do this. That being said, I haven't looked at their research, and I'm sure that they've done an excellent job looking into this. But if this is on the city's table in any way, I'd like to advocate maybe for better bus service in whatever capacity I can support that. I personally ride the 16 route from beyond the campus. It stops in the campus, and then it takes me downtown to my job. And I think a better service like that to serve the southern part of the ring road there with higher frequencies. My bus only comes every 30 minutes. If we want to look to bigger cities like Grand Rapids that have these scooters and bike share and other things, the other thing they have is buses that come every 10 minutes. Lansing has a bus that runs every 8 minutes. Ann Arbor is the same thing. I think that this is a much more equitable thing. My personal experience is that buses are more accessible. Micromobility is something that we need to tailor to people. Some people need scooters because they're disabled, and they're just generally not a toy, but micromobility needs to be tailored more in my personal experience. So if this is on the city's agenda at all, I would advocate for better bus services across the broader spectrum. But
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello, my name's Richard Barkley. I live at 2007 Eccleston Avenue. I don't know what you people are thinking about putting a homeless encampment in my neighborhood for. This is a city problem, not a township problem. You're talking about putting homeless people in my neighborhood. I've been dealing with homeless for the last 3 years. They're breaking into houses. They're squatting in houses. They're living at the end of the street I live on. They wander the neighborhood all hours of the day and night. My poor dogs are going crazy because there are people wandering my neighborhood. Okay? Now, do you want these people in your neighborhood? I think you probably don't. But maybe you should have. If you insist on putting this project at the end of the street in my neighborhood, which is less than 1,000 feet from my home, I will be personally pulling a parade permit, and I will be in your neighborhood, with a picket line. Okay? You understand that, right? Your neighborhood, all of your neighborhoods. I don't care. You know, I'm an old person. I'm retired. You know, I can do this. This is my job. My job is to see that this does not happen to my home. I've had people stealing from me. They've been stealing from my neighbors. They've squatted in my neighbors' homes after they've died. You know, do you want this for your neighborhood? Honestly, do you want this for your neighborhoods? Well, I don't want it for mine either anymore. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you. Next, please.
I'm Richard Stewart. I reside at 828 Portage Street. And I'd just like to say shame on the commission for exposing its ableism. I did not appreciate that you took away call-in remote participation to the city commission meeting. I normally, as a disabled person myself, I normally could not participate today without that. I'm having a good day, so here I am. But I can't say that always, and you've locked us all out. So shame on you, Mary Anderson, specifically for spearheading that, locking us out, and the elderly that counted on remote call-in participation. In fact, I find it rather interesting to sit here and listen to all these young, able-bodied people congratulate you and promote you spending all this money on the scooter agenda while I sit here and watch you take away all the disability parking downtown. I can't even go to my bank now downtown, thank you. So maybe you should think of this as the city of Kalamazoo and not the able-bodied Kalamazoo that you like to portray. There's a lot here besides what you want to focus on. I was here in '87. I remember when I was part of groups that participated in the digging up of the underground storm sewer that you now call Arcadia Creek. Didn't have a ring to it, calling it storm sewer, open storm sewer, but it's Arcadia Creek. And now you're spending $38 million to help with flooding while ignoring Southtown. Crosstown Ponds is not getting any of that. Portage Creek is not getting any of that. Well, Tina's been here every single time for years talking about our flooding problem. And Mayor, you want to tear down our trees, but still between Lake and Stockbridge for your Lift Foundation? Arbor Day today? Great. Quit tearing down our trees. Last remaining green space. You want to complain about deer? Quit tearing down their wildlife habitats. It's not Kalamazoo Golf Course. Leave us alone. According to Wikipedia, Edison, that's been my home since '87, is one of the most diverse neighborhood in this town. In fact, according to Wikipedia, it's high population of Hispanic people. So I have to ask, why did HRI's 3 choices for a site to put this shed encampment, concentration camp of homeless, all 3 were picked in Edison? They were told no. But they keep coming and keep coming in one neighborhood. Now, The police do a great job here of protecting us, but they are overwhelmed in our neighborhood. When is enough for one neighborhood? We are filled with homeless people. What is enough? Share it. Share it.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello. I'm here about the pod situation. It's going to be right down the road from my house. I lived down there 25 years. The past 4 years has been hell. You got people wandering the streets all days of the night. You're stealing things out of your property. You call the police, but they don't do anything about it. You know, I'm at the point where I'm going to probably put my house up for sale and move to a different city. I don't feel safe. You know, you can't leave your back door open during the day or during the night because they'll just walk into your house. You know, we got some empty houses. They squat in them. I just don't think it's right. They've had 3 other spots for this pod location. They just keep pushing it, and they're going to push me out of the city. I don't want to do that. I've been here my whole life. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hey, I'm William Farrell. I own a business at 1811 Lake Street, and I'm here for the pods also. I think it's a great idea what you're doing with the pods, but all you're doing is building a low-budget project housing is all you're doing, which is fine. You can do all that. If you want to correct your problem, the city of Kalamazoo owns lots of property. One of the places you ought to put it, and you won't have a problem with homeless anymore, is at 1505 Crosstown Parkway, right in front of the police center. There won't be a problem there with them people ever again, though. If you want to change these people, put law enforcement in their back door and they won't behave like they do now. There won't be drug dealers there. You won't have syringes laying all over the ground. We own lots of property, or I do, in Kalamazoo. And you constantly chase the encampments out of the property so that these people aren't living there. Our business is right across the ditch from where you want to put this. CJ Pubs is right behind us. Have respect for some people. I realize the homeless people have a problem. They made the problem themselves. You didn't make it. I didn't make it. At least if I fall down, I get back up. The more you hand out food, free clothing, everything free, they'll never go away. If I took all you people and said you never had to come to work again, but I'll pay you the rest of your life, would you ever retire? You won't. You won't do it. Pod thing's a great idea, but do it on city property. Do it in front of the courthouse, or there's another spot you can do it. 1316 Lamont, where the old dog shelter is. Put it there. What's wrong with that? You built a new dog shelter, put it right next to the jail. Any problem, they go to jail. They get food, they get showers, they get clothing. It's perfect. Just think about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please. You can sign in afterwards if you want to speak.
Hi, my name is Steve Slaughter. I'm here. I work at Juliana's. I'm here to speak against the pods. I do agree with a lot of people. Homeless definitely need help. They're not all bad, but all that's going to do is bring more of the negative ones into that neighborhood. We already deal with them harassing all of our elderly people on an almost daily basis. I mean, how would you feel if like your grandparents or daughters were coming in there to work or eat and just getting harassed by people that are not even necessarily need help, but are like junkies? And I don't know, man, it's actually sad. Like, there's so many of them there. Like Doug was saying, the waitresses don't feel safe leaving at night. I get there in the morning and they're in all the parking lots already. Like, all that's going to do is bring more people in that need like help that's not going to give them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Evening again, Toby Hannah Davies, city resident. One of the speakers at your meeting at 5 o'clock mentioned that the gospel mission always has beds available. And I want to say that the Gospel Mission is a wonderful place for some people who need shelter, but it's not right for everyone. How would you do sleeping in a very large room filled with bunk beds for 80 people? Or if you hadn't earned the right yet to get a bed, how would you do in a large room with 80 people sleeping on mats on the floor? Would you sleep well? Would you feel secure? What if that number of people in one room was anxiety-provoking for you? Would you go back there? The pods, in contrast, provide a private space for one person or a couple. Unlike the tents that many people are using now, the pods are heated and air-conditioned, and they're lockable with real beds and space to safely store clothes, other possessions, even bikes. Which would help you recover from whatever had gone wrong in your life? We're building permanent affordable housing as fast as we can, thanks to the voters of Kalamazoo County supporting the Homes for All millage. But we have to make up for many years of a lack of construction of affordable housing. There's an excellent report about to come out from the county on the 2023 projects funded by the millage and the 2024 projects that were just approved by the County Board of Commissioners a week or so ago. But we can get, until we can get a lot more construction and rehabilitation done, we badly, badly need the pods as part of the solution to homelessness. So I'm asking everybody to please keep an open mind about the pods and learn more about them and how well they're planned so that people can get beyond whatever made them homeless and have a much more fulfilling and productive life. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any, one shot.
Twice or just the lady from Isaac? Just a question.
So, is there anyone else who hasn't spoken who would like to make a comment for this meeting this evening? Okay, seeing no one, then I want to thank everyone that took the time and made the effort to come down here. I appreciate it. You know, the public comment period is over. We will continue on with our business meeting. I also want to remind everybody that there's no agenda item on our agenda related to the pods, no action whatsoever. No proposed action, no discussion. So I appreciate people expressing their feelings, but as far as this particular agenda goes, there's nothing related to the pods on tonight's agenda. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda. Manager Risma.
Yes, the following items are presented for approval. First is the approval of a one-year agreement with OpenGov Incorporated for the OpenGov suite of software in the amount of $112,291.15. Next is the approval of a contract extension with Kindle Electric Incorporated for inventory and non-inventory electrical supplies in the amount of $148,699.10. Next is the approval of a contract with Alta Planning and Design Incorporated for the development of Safe Streets for All SS4A intersection upgrade and pedestrian safety plan in the amount of $149,299. Next is the approval of a contract with L&T Painting for the Parchment Water Tower project in the amount of $179,050. Next is the approval of a contract with Division 7 for replacing 2 sections of roof at the Central Pump Facility in the amount of $181,600. Next is the approval of a contract with Peters Construction Company for the relocation of water main on Squires Drive and Inkster Avenue as part of the water main deflection project in the amount of $199,950. Next is the approval of a construction agreement with CD Arena LLC for $225,600 for the construction of water and wastewater systems, and to approve the city manager to authorize up to $55,000 in project contingencies for approved additional project costs. Next is the approval of a 2-year contract or 2-year extension to the 5-year lease for office space for the Community Planning and Economic Development Department at 245 North Rose Street for $241,333.20. Next is the adoption of a resolution approving a contract with the Michigan Department of Transportation for hot mix asphalt, cold milling, resurfacing, and pedestrian improvements on Howard Street for the estimated total cost of $722,000, with a local portion being $248,400. Next is the adoption of a resolution establishing a corrected Community Planning and Economic Development Department 2024 fee schedule. Next is the adoption of a resolution scheduling a public hearing for May 13, 2024 to receive comments on the program year 2024 HUD Action Plan. Next is the adoption of a resolution adopting the fiscal year 2025 Clean Water State Revolving Fund Project Plan for wastewater system improvements and designating James J. Baker, P.E. as the authorized project representative. Next is the adoption of a resolution setting forth the salaries of the City Commission appointees, City Manager, City Clerk, and Internal Auditor, effective April 15, 2024. Next is the adoption of a Michigan Liquor Control Commission resolution recommending approval of an application from the Board of Trustees of Western Michigan University for a Class C liquor license with banquet permit to be located at the WMU Student Center at 1070 Arcadia Loop. Next is the adoption of a resolution to vacate the northern 17 feet of West Water Street between North Park Street and Northwest Ninja Avenue. Next is the approval of the allocation of $30,000 from the City Commission Initiative Fund for the purchase of a vehicle to transport youth to and from programming for the Police Athletic League. Next is the approval of the fiscal year 2023 and fiscal year 2024 budget amendments and acceptance of informational reporting on capital project carryforwards and grant acceptances. Next is the approval of an amendment to Recycling Partnership Multifamily Grant Agreement and an amendment to the grant budget in the amount of $100,000. And finally, approval of a settlement agreement and mutual release among the City of Kalamazoo, the City of Kalamazoo Downtown Development Authority, the City of Kalamazoo Downtown Economic Growth Authority, Downtown Tomorrow Incorporated, and the Kalamazoo Community Foundation Development Financial Incorporated, and the Metropolitan Center LLC in the amount of $403,052.40.
Thank you very much, Manager Ritzma. Commissioners, the requested action is a motion to approve items 1 through 3 and 5 through 20 and authorize the city manager to sign all related documents on behalf of the city. Is there a motion? So moved. Motion made by Commissioner Cooney.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Decker. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Decker.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel.
Yes, but I'm going to abstain from G12 because of my employer.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes, abstaining from 8 and 16.
Vice Mayor Hess.
Yes, and I'd just like to note that in number 14, our city appointees also include the city attorney.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
And Commissioner Cooney.
Thank you, Commissioners. Items on the consent agenda are approved. We're now down to H, the regular agenda. First item on the regular agenda, Manager Ritzma.
Approval of a contract with Ferguson Waterworks for annual purchase of miscellaneous water inventory in the amount of $1,172,536.86.
Thank you, Manager Ritzma. Is there a report on this item?
No presentation, but we have our Public Services Director available if there are any questions.
All right, thank you so much. Are there any questions for Public Services Director Baker at this time? Seeing none, now is an opportunity for... So, So here's how it goes. This is a business meeting. So this is an opportunity for you to speak specifically on this item.
Do I care? No.
Oh, okay, well, I'll have to ask you please to step away from the microphone. Right. So please, respect that this is a business meeting. There's other people here. So do you have a...
Did I have questions? Damn straight I do.
Yes, sir. What is your question?
My question is, what's going to happen when you move 50 pods into my neighborhood with the infrastructure? I can already tell when my neighbors are taking a shower. So you move 50 pods into my neighborhood, what's going to happen?
Thank you very much. So Clerk Borling?
Yeah.
So you just started the timer on this then? Okay, thank you. So this item is the approval of a contract with Ferguson Waterworks for annual purchase of miscellaneous water inventory in the amount of $1,172,536.86. So is your question related specifically to this action?
You don't send me shit.
Okay. Well, at this point, I'm going to assume you don't have a comment on this particular item. Is there anyone else in the chambers here that would like to comment on this item, item H1?
Evidently, my
Okay,
dog does.
seeing no one, then the recommended action commission is a motion to approve. Is there a motion?
So moved. Support.
Sir, this is a business meeting. It's also being broadcast so people can watch. It would really be helpful if your dog's going to bark if you take him outside the chambers. So I need some assistance up here.
Let him arrest me. Come on now. Seriously.
So this business meeting needs to move along. Our next agenda item here, is making a motion, taking care of this. So was there a recommended action? Thank you, gentlemen.
Second.
Yeah. Okay, so motion made by Vice Mayor Hess and supported by Commissioner Decker. Got that? Okay. Commissioners, any discussion on this particular item? Commissioner Decker.
Just real quick, because I know we still have a lot to do. I just want to say this, again, goes to Director Baker and the team for really investing in our water supply that we need to do. So I just have to say that.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. Any other discussion? Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradle.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hess.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooney.
Yes.
Commissioner Decker.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. Next is item H2. Manager Ritzma.
Approval of a contract extension with Reith Riley Construction Company Incorporated for asphalt paving materials in the amount of $1,259,500.
Thank you, Manager Ritzma. I presume there's not a specific report on this.
Nope, but Director Baker is available if there are any questions.
Thank you again. Commissioners, any questions for Director Baker? Seeing none, is there anyone here in the chambers who would like to comment on this particular item? Seeing no one, Commissioners, the recommended action is approval of the contract. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson,
Second.
supported by Commissioner Hoffman. Any discussion, Commissioners? Seeing none, Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Pradle.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hess.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooney.
Yes.
Commissioner Decker?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. We now have a third item on our regular agenda. It was item G4 on our consent agenda. Manager Ritzma.
Approval of a contract with Rathco Safety Supply for pilot cycle track installation on Level Street and Stadium Drive and the restriping of Portage Street in the amount of $167,383.10.
Thank you very much, Manager Ritzma. For anyone who was interested, there was a rather long presentation on this. It happened at our Committee of the Whole, which will be available to watch online if you would like. But at this point, I presume you're not prepared for any special additional presentation. Commissioners, any question for Manager Ritzma? No. Seeing none, is there anyone here in the chambers who would like to ask make a comment on this particular item?
I'd like to ask if there will be a turn lane when the restriping happens on Portage. A turn lane is really badly needed at Phillip Street, which is the entrance to Heritage Senior Living Community, where I live now. And with the new building there, it's added 80 more apartments with people going in and out of Phillip Street there. So I'm hoping there will be bike lanes out Portage, and I'm hoping there will be a turn lane. There's a turn lane for people turning onto Miller, but Phillip Street is very close to Miller, and there's no turn lane, and it feels very scary to stop and wait for traffic there because you're making people behind you very annoyed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else who wants to make a comment?
Paul Sutherland, 109 North Berkeley, Kalamazoo, member of the Kalamazoo Bicycle Club, and I sit on several of CAT's committees. And I urge you to support the motion to put in the bike lane on Level Street. I think it would add a lot of connectivity to Western Michigan and Kalamazoo College and West Main Hill. So I encourage you to approve that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other individuals here in the chamber want to comment on this item? Director Baker, do you happen to have awareness about the Portage Street restriping?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just for clarification, and this information should be in your packets as well, the portion of Portage Street that we're referencing with this project are from Michigan Avenue, downtown East Michigan, to Level Street. So it's a very small portion that lies north of the Portage Pitcher split, and it does not extend south into the area where the commenter had made the comment.
Very helpful. Thank you, sir. Seeing no one else, the recommended action and motion to approve, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Pareto, supported by Commissioner Hoffman. Any discussion, Commissioners? Seeing none, Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hess?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooney?
Yes.
Commissioner Decker?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes.
Commissioner Praedel?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. Next are reports and legislation. City Manager Ritzma, do you have a report?
Yeah, I'd just like to cover a little more on an announcement that was made last week. As you know, the governor was here, as well as the Federal Highway Administrator, Shaylin Batt. Kalamazoo received a $38 million federal grant to improve the stormwater infrastructure on the west side of the city. And what really brought this together was how this, with the trailway, with the stormwater, and all the work we're planning to do on the west side, Federal Highway Administrator Batt said, this kind of hit the sweet spot of of what they were looking for. These were discretionary funds. So I believe we were awarded one of the largest in the country, the amounts. So what an honor. We thank them so much for consideration. It's called a PROTECT grant, which is the Promoting Resilient Operations for Transformative, Efficient, and Cost-Saving Transportation. So we're very honored to receive this. We thank Governor Whitmer and the Biden-Harris administration for all their support of Kalamazoo, and we look forward to the work to be done. And also, I just want to echo a shout out I made last week at the press conference of our team that put together the grant application, and all the wonderful folks that worked on that made this successful. So we got a top-notch team that's really hitting the mark and bringing in lots of dollars for Kalamazoo.
Thank you, Manager Ritzma. Well, now we are down to the time on our agenda for commissioner comments. So now is the opportunity for any commissioner who would like to make some comments. Somebody want to start? We are a crew of polite people. Okay. I'll fight to get back to line.
I'll go ahead.
Okay, Commissioner Decker.
Thanks, Mayor. So thank you, City Manager Ritzma, for again speaking on the $38 million that we received, because that is, I believe, as Commissioner Hoffman says, transformational for our community in certain areas. What we're doing is we are improving our infrastructure to be able to support the growth in housing and economic development, to be more inviting to all of our community, and to attract talent that can help us improve our city and keep the knowledge here. Last thing is I want to give a shout out to the CPED team and their inspection team for helping me out in the bind today. I appreciate you guys. I also want to give a shout out to the Shell gas station on the corner of Michigan and Westnedge. They were also very instrumental in assisting me this evening. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. Commissioner Hoffman, yes.
Thank you, Mayor. We've heard a lot today about the POD project and people that are unhoused. I just want to put this out here again. Housing is a human right, and the POD project is not a city project. It is a project of Housing Resources Incorporated. And so people keep talking about the PODs as if this is something that the city is doing, and that is just not true. The notion of othering human beings is a disservice to us all. Everyone deserves a place to live. The POD project is one of many, many options that could be beautiful for our city. It's not the only one, but it is one that could really change lives and save lives. We do not want to see another human being die outside in the cold because they had nowhere to go. So when I hear all of the rhetoric around who the homeless are, one lady was very poignant today. Not everybody that's unhoused is an addict. They're not alcoholics. They don't have mental illnesses. People are suffering because the cost of living and the pay equity has not kept up together. And so we must do something that we've not done before. To think that we're going to continue to house people in the way we did decades ago, those days are done. So we must be creative in our thinking while permanent affordable housing is being created. We must do something about it, and we have a responsibility. And sometimes we're going to have to get used to the tension. Tension allows us, and it teaches us that we can grow. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's not shut down, but stay open to the possibilities of what our community should do and what we can do. It is important that we get people off of the streets. It's important, and one suffers, we all suffer, and we need to really understand that. Housing is a human right.
Thank you, Commissioner Hoffman. So would anyone like to go next? Yeah, Commissioner Wilson, yes.
Thanks, Mayor. To echo off of Commissioner Hoffman's statements, progress is often halted by fear. and listening to your concerns. I understand, but some of these fears remind me of in the past how, people that look like me had been unfairly prevented from accessing certain neighborhoods or getting housing, and come to find out a lot of those fears were unrealized once the integration happened. So to echo what Commissioner Hoffman says, I just ask the community to keep an open mind, to lead with compassion and love, and just like Commissioner Hoffman said, not put a blanket stereotype over any section of our community just based off of fear.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilson. Commissioner Pradle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wanted to thank, there was someone who was a commenter. I think there were 2 kiddos in the audience tonight, and I still appreciate especially parents who take the time to bring their kids to these public meetings, because they will remember that forever. They'll remember that the adult in their life stood up and shared what matters to them most. So thank you to parents who do that. I also think that something that I remember somebody telling me at some point, I can not remember who it was, but they said something to the effect of, the day you should be concerned is when the day that these seats are empty and the podium you can hear crickets at. Because it is concerning that people don't care about something enough to show up and share what they're thinking about. Tonight we saw a room packed full of people, and you just think about cataloging all the different issues that people brought to the podium tonight. I mean, it was a wide-ranging, diverse range of topics that people brought up that they care about, and I think that really speaks to the health of our community, that people care enough to show up, but also the fact that if they didn't feel like what they had to say mattered, they probably wouldn't waste their time. Earlier tonight, during our committee of the whole, we heard from one of our senior engineers from the city, George Ware. And if you get a chance to listen back to this presentation, he did a tremendous job of humanizing the impact of the Safe Streets for All work that we're doing. He really painted a picture about how when we're talking about numbers of people who are impacted by road injuries, whether they be in the vehicle or outside of the vehicle, that's somebody's loved one. And he used a statistic where he showed that in the span that we've had vehicles, that there have been something like over 4 million people who've died in vehicular-related crashes. And you compare that in that same period that something like 1.3 million people have died from all the wars that we fought, violent conflicts around the world. I mean, just think about that for a second. And so, but that kind of leads me to my next point about just humanizing people. And I too heard a lot of comments tonight where I think there was a lot of generalizations about people who may be homeless or houseless. And just remind people, regardless of what side that you're on as you talk about the issue, that's somebody's loved one that you're talking about. That's somebody's dad, that's somebody's sister, that's somebody's daughter. It's somebody that is loved by somebody. And to generalize a group of people is a very dangerous prospect, irregardless of what group of people we're talking about. When you hear words like them or that group, it concerns me. And I just hope that irregardless of how people feel on some of these issues, that they keep that in mind when they speak about human beings and people in our community. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Pradle. Commissioner Cooney?
Thank you, Mayor. I think my colleagues have spoken eloquently. I just wanted to end with a quote from Dr. King. We're bound together in an inescapable web of destiny. Whatever affects you directly affects me indirectly. I cannot become all that I am meant to be until you become all that you are meant to be.
Thank you, Commissioner Cooney. Vice Mayor Hess.
Thank you, Commissioner Cooney. Appreciate that, and I really appreciate my colleagues up here. Just a few things. Wearing orange as well. I decided to wear a nice orange shirt, but that's the city orange shirt. I decided to go orange in support of National Work Zone Aware. Oh, there you go, Commissioner. And Commissioner Hoffman, kind of. A little bit of orange in there. This is the start of National Work Zone Awareness Week. It's an annual spring campaign held at the start of construction season from April 15th to 19th to encourage safe driving through highway work zones, and I will say work zones throughout the city. The key message is for drivers to use extra caution in work zones, an especially important message for the public services, as a large majority of our work is performed in work zones. Attached are some, we don't need the statistics, but as workers in those zones, everyone should maintain a safe work zone driving through them, please. And be constantly aware of your surroundings. As a driver, everyone should follow all work zone laws and be mindful of every worker in the work zone. Many of our workers that work for the city of Kalamazoo are on these roads, and they're wearing bright green or bright orange. Please, please drive safely in our work zones. And Wednesday, the city will be celebrating that day. That said, and that goes along with George Waring's presentation on safety and roads, and then also the proclamation for Workers' Day that we had at the beginning of the meeting. Here in our education city of Kalamazoo, Commissioner Hoffman and I had the great privilege of visiting Arcadia Elementary School last week ago, Friday, and we talked to Miss Caterino's class. Miss Caterino's class had sent all of us commissioners a letters, and they singled us all out, but we went and talked to them, and they were engaging. These fifth graders are the future of Kalamazoo, and they've got it going on. They had suggestions for us. They had really well thought out questions for us, and they're concerned about the houseless in Kalamazoo. They really wanted to know, and they wanted to know how they could help. And what we told them was that, you can walk in the walk, the HRI walk, which was this past Saturday. I don't know who chose to do that, but the children want to help, and the children want to be involved. Let us make sure that we are role models for those children as well, because it does take a village. I appreciate the Deltas coming forward tonight and volunteering their services for the greater good of the city. Thank you, Deltas. And thank you to all the students who came here from Kalamazoo College, from Western, to speak on behalf of our Safe Streets for All. That's civic engagement, and I appreciate Commissioner Pradel bringing that up, is that, yes, it is a scary night when there's no one here and there's no engagement. So while we are all here longer, it's a much better conversation with you involved. So thank you for everything.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Hess. First of all, I appreciate everyone who did attend our meeting this evening. It was nice to have our chambers full, and I know there are people who watch this online as well, so I appreciate you that pay attention. Just a reminder is that this is the business meeting of the Kalamazoo City Commission, and yes, it is a somewhat structured meeting. We have an agenda. We have specific actions that we take, and that is demanded of us. We are supposed to publish an agenda in advance of our meeting, and we are required to take actions in public, not in secret. So that is the work that we do here, and it, granted, is not informal. There's a structure to it, but there's another purpose in our meeting, which is required of us as well, which is to allow an opportunity for public comment, which we do at every meeting when we're together. There's always an opportunity for public comment. I just want to remind people is that it's our intent that this is a safe space for public comment. I appreciate that people are clapping, I get that, but what that seems to open the door for is for people to boo as well. And that's not something that's acceptable here. You should be able to come up and make a comment and not feel like you are in some way, going to be, discouraged from doing that by booing, encouraged by clapping. I get it, clapping's nice, but there's a reason to limit that kind of just general outburst so that people can have the opportunity in a safe way to come up and express their opinions. Related to all that, I want to give a real shout out to our own public safety department, specifically related to the meeting this evening. Chief Boyson, I see you walking in. And what happened here this evening, which we all witnessed, which is somebody feeling perhaps that he wasn't being heard or wasn't getting his point across or wanted to make sure he had more time and was having difficulty understanding that there was a structure to the meeting and he had his time to talk, and that things looked like maybe they're going to get a little out of hand. There were some emotions there. And who do we ask in those times in our community to please do something about that? Public safety. And thank you for being here. Thank you for doing that not only tonight, but throughout the community every day, 24 hours a day. And I also want to remind anybody who's paying attention was that the approach from public safety was the approach that they take into every interaction, which is an attempt to de-escalate. Not make things worse. Find a way to get through it where people remain safe. So thank you again for that. I appreciate that. I do want to recognize Gwendolyn Hooker. We're talking about all different ways that we are responding to the need for housing. Gwendolyn Hooker, who has a nonprofit here in Kalamazoo and has been persistently working on a project for, I think, 7 years now. I think that's the length of time. A vision that she had about having what's called tiny houses. They look a little bit more like little houses to me now, maybe, than tiny houses. Once again, to allow people to have a safe, decent, humane place to live. And that project is coming to fruition. There was a wonderful groundbreaking for that. And another small number of units, but also specifically to serve people who otherwise would not have housing. So I want to thank Gwendolyn Hooker for her persistence. City is providing some assistance ourselves to help that project come together. Something that is interesting and unusual, I guess, for me in my life is that, I did get to participate in really this amazing event where we got really a very large award from Protect grants for here in the city of Kalamazoo. One of the largest awards in the country, and by far and away the largest award here in the state of Michigan, which is why the administrator for the federal highway came here to Kalamazoo to talk about the Michigan projects, but specifically ours. And during our event that we had recognizing that, I got a voicemail from Pete Buttigieg congratulating us. So I'm walking around with my phone with a voicemail from Pete. Haven't called him back yet, so I don't know if he'll take my call or not. Yeah, right now. But one thing I do want to say, recognizing concerns, is that, yes, we are very aware, and Director Baker is particularly aware of flooding issues that we have here in Kalamazoo. We're in a low space next to a river, and a lot of downtown actually was swampy at one time. It has all been filled in. So we're dealing with that. This grant is a great thing, but does it solve all our flooding problems? No, it does not. You mentioned the team here at the city. I mean, you're talking about the handful of people that watch for grant opportunities, pull the expertise together to write those grants. We have a couple people who are totally focused on that in the city manager's office. And the result of that is, as you look through a grant, you've got to think very, very carefully about leverage. Where's your matching money coming from? How are you going to get pointed? And it just so happens this particular one, with everything coming together, really rose to the top in terms of this is a way that we can really get pointed on this particular grant. And no, it will not solve all the flooding problems in the city of Kalamazoo. And there are more things that we'll be doing to address those issues, but this is a win, and it's a win in the step to a series of greater wins. That's what I hope for. So thanks. Your team rocks, Manager Ritzma. I mean, this is, in essence, this amount of money is about half of our general fund budget for an entire year, just in one, kind of one action. And the last thing I want to do, just before we go on to the rest of our meeting, which is going to continue for a while, is recognize my colleagues. You know, sometimes it is not that easy recognizing that we are trying to do the best job we can here, and not everyone's going to be happy. And some people are going to be deeply unhappy. And yet, there's a group of people that I have the honor of serving with who are willing to be in that space and sometimes perhaps be accused of things or yelled at. But underneath all that, you're doing this because you care about the city, everybody that lives in the city, and do a very good job of not personalizing that, but trying to take the high road. And it is an honor for me to serve with you and your team, Manager Marissa. I appreciate it very much. So, as far as extending our meeting here, guess what? We have another closed session tonight, which seems to be the order of the day as it goes on. And I've got a question for Attorney Leal here. Will we be coming back into open session?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so there's no action. When we have a closed session, just as a reminder, we might talk about some things which are attorney-client privileged, which is the only way we can go into closed session. But if we're going to take an action on that information that is provided to us, we must come back into open session to take an action on that. That's not something we can do in closed session. So no action required, evidently. This will be information. But the next thing we'll have to do is have a motion to go into closed session. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Pradel,
Support. Oh.
supported by 3 people. Okay, excitement about a closed session tonight. Yeah, supported by Vice Mayor Hess. Clerk Borling, can you please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Hess.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooney.
Yes.
Commissioner Decker.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. We will not be coming back into open session. So, I love you, Kalamazoo. We are adjourned.